Hi, everyone. So, as we enter the second week of the semester, I wanted to go over a few things that I think are helpful when you are in a class where argument is a big part of it. And especially, right now, I know that so much this past year, especially, has been happening, and we're seeing so much on the news. And I'm seeing a lot of really great things out there, and I'm seeing a lot of really awful things out there. So I want to kind of set some ground rules and make some things clear for how this class runs. The first thing, really, and this is maybe the most important, is that in discussion board posts where everyone can see what you're saying, uh, I want you to give your own opinion on things. And we do have to remember that this is a class based on argument, so that there will be differing opinions and viewpoints on certain topics. Um, I feel like the topics presented, with the exception of maybe one, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second, are ones that have controversy, but aren't ones that people really get up in arms over as far as when they do have conflicting viewpoints. Uh, but even with that, I just want to say that because it's an argument class, there can absolutely be differing opinions. There should just always be thoughtfulness put into those differing opinions. Make sure that you're using the Aristotelian appeals that we're going to talk about this semester, so logos, ethos, and pathos. So just make sure that your points are really strong and well thought out. Uh, but I will not, in any way, shape, or form, tolerate any type of hate speech of any kind. So if I do read something that I think is inappropriate, it will be taken down. Um, because, and this is good news, I've never had that issue as far as grading and things. I don't really know if I would make you rewrite a post, and this is if you're doing your mandatory post. If I would make you rewrite it and turn it in, if I would grade it but still take it down. I'm not sure about that yet. I think it really is a situational thing. Uh, if it's a response to someone's post, so it's not where you're actually getting the grade, you're just adding a new thread where you're um, discussing with someone, then I'll just take it down, and I will make you aware that I took it down, and I will tell you the reason why I took it down. Uh, but again, I have never had this issue, and I don't anticipate that it's something that will happen in our class honor discussion boards, but I do want everyone to be aware of that. Say hi to my cat, Mr. Monk. She thought she would join in, lighten up the tone a little bit after that little speech, right? Mr. Monk is taking her early afternoon nap today. The other thing that I want to say is in, I believe it's week 5, we cover satire. If you are not familiar with satire, you may want to just do a little bit, like 5 minutes of research on it before you get to that week, just to kind of prepare yourself. But I will say that satire is always a very over the top form of commentary, and it's not meant as a serious suggestion. It's really kind of critiquing just how we've been looking at things. So or it kind of makes its own statement in a loud way, but it's not saying this is the truth or we should actually do this or something of that nature. So the reading that you'll do in that week is you're going to read uh, parts of Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal. So whatever week you read A Modest Proposal, if you know nothing about it, just please keep in mind when you're reading it that it is satire. Don't think, my goodness, my professor has lost her mind when you read it. I also I'm going to include some links to some modern satire sites. It is just to show you all that satire still does exist, and right now it's very popular. You see it a lot, especially shared on social media platforms. Uh, it's a great way to see modern day satire and how it's used, but please know that, that's the reason I'm linking you to these sites. It's not to push any type of agenda or anything on anyone. In fact, the sites that I link you to all typically have very different types of satire, things they satirize. So one of the sites is actually very kind of religious based satire. One of the sites is known for a lot of its music based satire. In fact, it really kind of started with satirizing punk music and the punk scene, but then it expanded from there. Another site is just kind of a catch-all satire, so it satirizes politics, and it satirizes pretty much anyone in politics. I've seen satire on Donald Trump, I've seen satire on Joe Biden, I've seen satire on Bernie Sanders in the past year from these sites. So it's an equal opportunity satirical site, though the types of articles, really depend on what's going on with those people at the moment. And there's a site that I link you to that is a satire of, it's kind of feminist based. But again, it's just to show you the various types of satire, satirical writing that are out there. And again, showing you how Swift's satire that was written so long ago is still relevant to how we tend to satirize major topics today. Another thing that I really want to emphasize is as I grade your writing, it's my job to make sure that your writing is as strong as possible, which means that I often have to ask a lot of questions and critique things. I might have to say, well, why did you say this? Or, well, what about this? Questions that when you read them at first, you might think, oh, she disagrees with me, or oh, she's saying my point is wrong, or oh, she's saying my point is bad. And it's not any of those things. What I'm really doing is just helping you to, when you answer those questions in your head, you can see spots in your paper that you can start to add more material so that an outside audience who would be reading your topic, they don't ask those questions. You've somehow addressed them or you've strengthened your points. So anytime I'm saying why or but what if, it really is to just help you strengthen your current argument. And that's, if I say, hey, this paper seems to be missing some points, or it doesn't seem like you address such and such, again, that's me giving you guidance, not me, pointing a finger at you and saying bad job. So do keep that in mind as well. You can always email me if you have questions or concerns about my feedback. I'm happy to help you. In face-to-face classes, I have more of an opportunity to talk with students about the feedback. So I completely understand if there's something you need a little bit extra clarification on, definitely let me know. So those are a couple of things that in week 2, as we really start to get into the writing process more and are doing more discussion boards, that you just kind of keep those things in mind. So I hope you have a good day. Mr. Monk says take a nap if you can, and reach out to me if you have any questions.